Okay, so we're going to use the Moira knife to make a tent peg. First thing we want to do is we're just going to not sharpen but put a point on one end, and as you can see we're just slowly going around, full hand grip, taking little pieces away each time. Aim for an edge and run the knife across the piece of wood. Don't try and push it through. We don't need it vampire stake sharp, just like that. Then what we want to do is we're going to make a notch. To make the notch, I put the knife in my least dominant hand and put it about a third of the way down, and then I'll use a wacky stick just to knock the knife into the piece of wood till about the depth of the bevel of the knife, and then making sure my fingers are out of the way, use my thumbs on the back of the knife, and I just slowly roll the knife blade towards that stop cut that I've just made, and then roll the knife again through the stop cut, and as you can see that then creates a nice little notch. Then we come to the other end, and again using the thumbs on the back of the blade, all we're doing is just taking off that sharp edge at the top of the peg, and that enables us, when we're hitting the peg into the ground, it'll stop the peg from actually splitting down the sides or down the middle. And there we go, a nice simple way to use a tent peg. Using the knife, as you can see I had the forehand grip. If you've got younger children using the knife, what you can do is knock it into a piece of wood and then hold on to the top of the knife, and you can pull the wood across the blade, and as you can see that makes sure the knife doesn't move, so it's adding that element of safety, but you can still sharpen your piece of wood. When you take the knife out, move it backwards and forwards and pull it out away from you, and again once you've finished, the knife goes back in the sheath, and that's homemade tent peg. I have my knife in my least dominant hand again. I place it across so the handle is free of the wood but the point is off to one side, and we take our stick and we can batten it on the back of the knife until it goes all the way in. Once you've done that, a bit more pressure on the handle and hit on the point end, and as you can see that goes all the way through, and I can continue to do that until we get the right size wood that we need to make the fire easier to start. And now you'll find that the processed wood will be a lot easier to light with a match or a lighter than the big log. Okay, so we're just going to show you now the safe use of the folding saw, and as we said, we make sure the saw is locked in place. Normally when you start cutting something you would start like this. Whenever you're out and about, to make sure you reduce any chance of injury, put your hand over the blade, so if the blade jumps out, the back of it is going to hit your hand. And what you can do, start cutting. It's a little bit awkward, but you start cutting through. Once the blade's safely into the piece of wood, you can then move back to the normal position and cut through to your place. Once you've finished, as always, make sure the blade is seated safely back into the handle. Another option for doing the same sort of thing if you're using or cutting bigger wood, if you're using a bow saw like that, what you can do is you put your hand through the bow saw blade, start cutting until the blade is safely into the piece of wood, and then you can move back again and start cutting all the way through. Okay, so this is just a quick tip on safe use of the Moira axe. As you can see, if we were going to use it to process a piece of wood this size, it's quite dangerous to have my fingers in the way. So what you should do, just take a piece that you've already processed, hold the wood, and that holds it steady, and then use the axe onto the piece of wood. And that then makes sure that your fingers are well out the way. I mean, if you're doing that sort of thing, so if you wanted to light with a match or something, you can get these shavings off like that. It's what they call feather sticking. So if you've got a piece of wood and you wanted to light it with a match, you can do it like that. You can do this with a knife or an axe, and you've got that then. You can just light that with a match. Nice and easy to do.